In this video, I'm going to show you how they monitor my phone and how they play games based off what I'm looking at or what I say. We are living in a controlled environment, and I'm going to show you how. On March 4th, I explained at the San Jacinto City Council meeting how in September, when my neighbor was having construction done on their house, the water department pulled up at the same exact time and they started playing their games. How one day I was walking down the street, a car pulled up really fast next to me and stopped, and I said into my headphones, "Man, that's garbage. I'm gonna call you garbage trough." The next day, there's a trailer down the street from my house with trash in it. This is the same trailer that was at my neighbor's house. It sat there for an entire month. This proves that the city is working with my neighbors. On March 11th, I see this video, which is funny because that's where I got the name Garbage Trough.
Donald Trump is so convinced of this that when a Mikhail Gorbachev impersonator comes to Trump Tower to make fun of the whole situation, because that guy would just pull up outside your apartment and beep, beep, come say hi.
So now, this next video starts to make a lot more sense.
One, they actually released this on the day that I was flying out to a job in California. Kind of odd that the one day that I wasn't in the studio waiting for this is the day that it came out. Did I happen to scare Disney into delaying the trailer? No, I'm not delusional enough to think that, but wouldn't it be funny if they did? And the second reason is that I planned on doing this on Monday, as in this Monday, 3 days ago.
I kept having issues and I noticed a pattern, so I filed a complaint against the supervisor. My next day of work, 3 days later, there's a fire at the warehouse on the next street over. In February 2023, I contacted the EPA concerning the warehouse fire. 3 days later, once again, we get hit with snow in San Jacinto. I got followed around by fire truck number 4373, Fresno Kings unit, not even from this county, Battalion 13. Now real quick, engine 4373, if you notice it's from Squaw Valley.
Senators Mountains is cleaning up after an extremely rare tornado touched down yesterday. Firefighters telling us 6 vehicles flipped over with people inside. One of them was a CAL FIRE pickup truck. The firefighters' gear got carried all the way up into a nearby tree. He, along with 4 others, were taken to the hospital. All are expected to be okay.
So this took place in Scotts Valley off of Mount Herman Road. Mount Herman. Why does that name sound familiar? There are no coincidences, and that's because we are living in a controlled environment. I'll give you an example. You ever been out looking for work, nobody calls you back, and when you finally get a job, all of a sudden you start getting a bunch of calls? Think about that. So yesterday, I'm doing research on this video at 10:04, and if you notice, we got hit with an earthquake at 10:08. Coincidence? And I started walking home, and I just hear someone yelling. And all right, so in this video, I'm gonna try to show you how they not only monitor my phone, how they work with my neighbors, and how a lot of these events that are taking place in the city are planned or they're fake. Now, this audio that you just heard took place in front of the San Jacinto Police Department Sheriff Station, and if you look to the left right there, there's a door. This door was open. They called me to the department to file my complaint. Now, the issue with this is that I called them and I asked them to come down to meet me somewhere. And then they call me back and they tell me, "Hey, come down to the department." So I go there. I notice that door's open. And I start speaking to the officer about the incident that took place. This is about 10 minutes into the conversation. And if you notice, at the exact moment that I start telling him about the fact that someone starts yelling at me, you could hear officers in the background yelling. And I started walking home, and I just hear someone yelling. And so once again, they called me to the department, And this happened at night, so the front door was closed. I had to speak with them outside. So what this shows is that they placed me in that environment so that they can mock me. Now, the issue I'm having with this complaint is that I filed this complaint back in October. This took place on December 23rd. Now, back in October, I gave the officer evidence. November comes, and I speak with the officer, and he tells me I threw away the evidence. So I told him that's unacceptable. So he goes and speaks with the supervisor. Then he calls me back and tells me, well, we could get him with a PC 422. So a few days pass, and I call back to see what's going on. Turns out that officer gets fired. So they tell me this officer is no longer with the department. You have to file another complaint. And the strange thing about that officer being fired is he was literally fired moments after speaking with me. Now, if you look at this picture right here, this is what I was looking up on my computer on January 30th. It's about the Big Bear manhunt that took place for Christopher Dorner. So the very next day, I hear the helicopters outside. So we have the police helicopters in the area looking for a suspect. And well, it looks like it might be a lot closer than I expected.
Hold on, man.
You guys got somebody in the area or what?
We're working on the other street.
Now keep in mind, this is the same neighbor's house that when I arrived after dropping off my lawsuit, I see this. Now that's a form of intimidation. So the last time I was here, I basically proved how the city was working with my neighbors and playing their games. And it's part of my lawsuit. So I was also talking about how a while back the San Jacinto Police Department threw away a few of my complaints and evacuation took place that night. That was basically, in my belief, it's a punishment for failure to tie up loose ends because they were working with my former employer. And how once again they were playing games, this time throwing away evidence, then firing the deputy that did it to avoid an investigation. This was a death threat that I had received. So I sent that info to the DA because I know they're not going to investigate it here. They're not going to investigate themselves. And I stated, quote, the department is either protecting the person that my complaint is against or intentionally making it difficult for me to file a complaint. I sent that out on Tuesday night, the 18th. Wasn't there an evacuation on the 20th here? Something like a gas line that was hit?
About 10 acres of cardboard materials that have caught on fire, and now we're seeing this fire take on a little bit more of a positive profile here as a lot of that thick black smoke that was billowing over the 215 freeway near March Air Reserve Base just a short time ago.
So this is a letter that I received from UNFI, which was intercepted by the local military base. As you can see, there's a sticker from UNFI, and there's another one on top of it from March Air Reserve Base. Now, I believe this was done as a form of intimidation. On September 9th, a Friday, I filed a complaint at work against the manager. When I couldn't work on Monday, September 12th, there was a big fire. And what I believe is that this fire was set intentionally, and it was put out perhaps through the military helicopters using weather modification. And it's clear that weather modification was used when you listen to what they have to say on the video.
And it certainly appears that they are about to get some assistance from Mother Nature here in the next couple of minutes as we keep a close eye on a small storm cell that is moving directly up the 215 freeway with heavy rain associated with it and even a little bit of lightning, unfortunately. But we're going to continue to keep an eye on this as they put the finishing touches on this one. It's going to be...
So to further the connection between UNFI and March Air Reserve Base, I had to file an appeal with the CUIAB. So I requested that they have Lauren Beimer, the former HR manager, subpoenaed. I received a phone call on November 16th, and they were asking for more information concerning Lauren. And that morning, there was a military helicopter flying back and forth over the city for a good 2 hours. I went out for a walk that day, and I managed to take 4 pictures of that helicopter flying directly overhead. the last one being at my house when I arrived. Those pictures all got erased from my phone. Now, to me, that seemed like it was more intimidation. So I was told that by requesting Lauren to be present, that the date of my appeal would be changed. Yet the subpoena still shows the original date. In the end, she never received any paperwork, despite my many requests.